Now we have a real-life experience from Finland, brought to us by Aleksi Rossi from YLE, who's the national broadcaster, and they claim 450,000 users, so this is a significant example. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Hello, everyone. Some of these slides are in Finnish because we are a Finnish company for Finns, even though there are also, of course, Swedish-speaking population, that's about 5%, and then we have Russians, about 2%, and then when there are a lot of tourists, we have all different kinds of people with different languages. Unfortunately, we still have to start from somewhere, so this one is in Finnish. YLE is the BBC of Finland. So we are a national broadcaster, and we make a lot of local language productions. And we also air quite a bit about the international big titles like Game of Thrones that you can watch also from the Finnish telly. That was 100 years of broadcast history. But where we are going is way more on the internet. And in the internet, we can know quite a bit more about people, but we also want to not only think highly about the privacy of the people, we try to be able to help the society in general. And one way is that we have set up YLE ID, where we have 450,000 Finns, meaning about every 10th or every 10th person has already signed up. And that's of course awesome, but we're just starting. What you gain by being able to register is that your viewing history, for example, starts to accumulate. And this is the first point where it's being attached to a person. So of course we know and we track the anonymous usage, how much there is, but it is not attached to the person. When it is being attached, we are also required by the law that we have to tell, this is your history, this is what we know about you. So there's also reading history, not only viewing history, and when there will be other attached services where you explicitly give your preferences, those will be also here. We will also give you a button, you can wipe them off, or you can adjust them, like say that this one is incorrect. Actually, it was read by my wife. And at the end of this list, we will have the bottommost link, which is you can download your data. We've been live with this for half a year now. There should be more, and we are getting there. So in the hackathon here during this week, we were collaborating with Helsinki Region Public Transportation Agency. They have a system where you can kind of rent a bike, go around in a city with the bike easily. And that's a separate system. And behind there is a third company from France. So now we are three entities that the public individual is facing. And for the hackathon, we thought that let's make a challenge. Let's make a MyData proxy. But actually, we got so eager about the idea that we already implemented it. And then the challenge was, so use the proxy, get the data for yourself with the ID from two different places and start to make something useful out of it. So if we take this as a thematic picture, we are empowering already the everyday life on our platform. So there is in the blue box, we have MyData about your viewing history, and we can do good recommendations based on those. What is going to be the next step is that we actually take some other MyData that's out there and we start to incorporate that into our platform. That needs to happen, but not everything can happen. So for example, we cannot take others' recommendations and start to feed them for the public because we are bound by the law that we have to have the head of editors who are making the choices. What we can do is that we can influence people through our own recommending so that we can incorporate other sources and then start to feed the people. Also, in the future, it's not about us, our platform. It should be about every platform out there. So we should be able to move our data elsewhere and then that can be utilized. Maybe there are other recommendations that could and should be done elsewhere. For example, today I was speaking with the libraries. When you have been watching a document about Ukraine and you go to the library, you probably want to dig deeper. And at the moment, these are two different entities with no information about you. But we are both serving you. We can help you. So let's make this happen. But we can also maybe help directly. So we can make recommendations that how about reading this when you end up to the library next time. Also, libraries can be pushing people to the other services, maybe even to the commercial services. And the data might be leaking through multiple parties outside from the picture. And of course, there are plenty of threats for the everyday life as well. One thing that is almost always missing when we talk about how do we make this thing happen is that people don't talk, that there needs to be a contrast, a background. When you have my profile, you can say quite little about it. But when you can say how I am different from him or from her, what are the rest of the group all about? Then you can start to make meaningful differentiations. So one way could be that there would be summaries about populations, maybe from the recommending system, maybe about profiles. And those should be moving around as well. So my data is not only about me, it's also all of us. We need to be pushed forward and compared to each other. So I leave here. Thanks.